Alright, welcome to this video. In this video I'll try to pick a multi-lock MT5. It is really just an MT5 because I just gutted this guy and got the sliders out and the sidebar out of this lock, rendering it just an MT5 normal, not an MT5 plus. I gotta say, this lock has been lent to me by a Reddit user called Nemo Griff. The guy knew nothing about me really, and just I discussed with him a bit, and he agreed to actually send me this lock. That's a $100+ lock that he just agreed to send to me, which is really great. So when people talk about this grid community, this is what we're talking about right here. So there you go. So you got the little interactive element at the tip of the key, 5 pin and pin. You got the slide right here for the groove for the sliders, but the sliders are not in there. So there we go. We'll try to pick this guy. Where's the thinner tension wrench? There we go. So usually people start off, I'm just going to put a bit more light because I like to see what's going on in there. People usually start off right away with that alpha spring that usually binds first. And after that they go for the pins. On this lock it seems like you have to pick some of the pins first. So there you go, I gotta click on outer number 3, outer number 4, number 1 gave me a click. Number 2 outer. And my pick is stuck. And I'm pretty much done with the outers, I think. So I'm gonna go with for the alpha spring, which is somewhere over here, I think. There we go. So I got a good false set out of this. Okay, I didn't get like the big false set I was expecting. That means I still have outer pins that needs to be picked. And I had that situation earlier where now number 1 is binding super hard, and no matter what I do with it, it just won't go. Which is kind of a strange situation. When I had that earlier, I had to reset and start over. I'm not sure I understand the phenomenon here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now I got the big false set. So it was the inner pin on 1 that was actually binding. So now I got the big false set. So I got another click out of inner number 2. I got a little something out of 3, I think. So I'm probably hanging on 1. There we go. Alright, I'm pretty happy with the time it took to pick this guy. Just get it out of the vise there. Okay, I'm just going to shut my headlamp just for the gutting. So you can see that this guy is picked right there. I don't want to turn it too much because I'm not sure if the top pins are going to fall into the slider groove. Because I got these sliders out. position there. All right, gonna get a good look. Okay, so we do have a key, so I'm gonna lock it back up because you need to gut it with the key anyway if you don't want all of these. Oh yeah, they're out now. I was gonna say you're gonna need to gut it with the key if you don't want all of the sliders to fall off. Oops, key's in way too far. All right. Had the same issue earlier where the inner pins on top are getting hung on my fuller. Not a big issue. I'm just gonna remove it slowly. I'm more worried about the top pins. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna put this aside and we're gonna gut the top first. So that was number 1. Number 2. Super long springs. Wow. You can barely feel the spring tension in there, and look at the size of these. It's just crazy. That's number 3. So, so far, like you said, like you saw when I picked it, there was no counter rotation at all at any point. And from all the videos I saw of the MT5, come on spring, it happens quite often that there are no spools or, okay, so that's the standard pin for the alpha spring. Same super long spring. Another standard driver. And I'm done. Whoops. So all standard drivers, I've seen that in quite a few videos. It seems like it's not that strange. So there's nothing special in the core. And there we go. So you got 4 standard pin and pin multi-lock pin and pins, and you got this alpha spring, which is the equivalent a bit of the interactive pin number 2 on multi-lock interactive. I'm just going to dump key pins. Oh, the key pins are different than the interactive right there. So you can see, so the last chamber is quite different, and it is special for the alpha pin, just because basically, let me show you what the pin looks like. It's like a 2-part pin, so what you have to pick is that small part right there, which is not in line with the regular key pin. So I'm just going to realign this a bit. So these things are different in a way where they're all, they seem to be countermilled or something, so that the actual pin is smaller and the top part has a see what they look like. They're actually different than the regular multi-lock pin just because of that little offset, that little shoulder right there. The top, the key pin inners are not serrated or spool. The inner, okay, let me get a closer look at that. Yeah, so the inner pins on the driver are spooled, but the outer drivers are all standard. So I think it kind of makes it a little harder to pick just because it doesn't talk as much as the regular ones, where you have a lot of counter rotation and all, which actually makes it easier to pick. So this is the alpha pin. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So nothing super special. I've heard that some of them actually have the counter milling in the core to fit these pins, but this guy does not. No, so this guy has no counter milling. So I guess all of these MT5 Plus are not all made equal. So eventually I'll insert the sliders right there on the side, and this is where the sidebar will fit into. And we got a drill protection ball bearing that sits right there. But that's going to be eventually, because with this pick and gut, technically that will grant me my red belt on Reddit, which is really interesting. So there you have them, all standard drivers on top, and kind of spooled key pins. They're actually just, the bottom portion is smaller. And if you overlift those, I guess this little shoulder will catch and create an oversight. And you got the alpha pin right there. So there you have it. This is the multi-lock MT5. And again, thank you very much to Nemo Griff on the subreddit that kindly lent this lock to me, which is just amazing. I mean, this is a very expensive lock, and we trust each other enough to just send it away and hope that it comes back. I will keep it for just a little while, try to put the sliders back in there and try to see if I can get this guy open with the sliders, and I will get it back to you shortly. Well, thank you very much, and you guys, thanks for watching.